Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown. Joined with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. We have a lot to go over from NASCAR in Nashville, heading into Chicago, going over all of the stuff in IndyCar, previewing their races in Mid-Ohio, some NHRA recap, some news, and all of the different motorsports, and obviously ending up with our high limit and outlaws and a little bit of extra dirt racing for PA Speed Week since you're going up there this week. So kicking off our NASCAR segment like we always do. Starting with the truck series, let's get that kind of out of the way because it was the most boring race ever. You don't ever see this. It's a flag to flag race by Christian Eckes, leads every single lap, wins the race, dominant fashion. Probably because there were 485 cautions and he just went off every restart. There was no strategy had to be played out because everybody got to be on the same pit strategy with cautions. Just another, hey, truck series is not the best racing around, I guess.
Glad I missed it.
Yeah, I watched the highlights, and I don't know how they piled 9 minutes of highlights in it because there really weren't the highlights. And I hate it sounded like I'm trash talking the truck series, but I mean, come on, it's kind of embarrassing when you're supposed to be the top echelon of motorsports and you're just crashing, spinning out, and you end up having a guy lead every single lap at a track that probably shouldn't lead every single lap at. So it's one of those. Uh, John Hunter Nemechek wins the Xfinity race, a little bit better of a race. Still some crashes, and the heat was intense in Nashville. So
Yeah, it was
it's
hot.
literally Nashville hot there. Not Nashville hot chicken, but Nashville hot. So and then the Cup race, it was still hot. But the crazy thing about the Cup race before we get into the actual ending, which was absolutely insane, but the rain it changed everything. They rained out was a 90-minute delay or something. It
Yeah,
was
so it
a
wasn't very
little
long.
yeah, it was a little bit of rain, a lot of lightning, and it went away pretty quick, but it cooled down the track, made it a green track, and made it to where the race ended under the lights, changed everything up completely, and I think it ended up making it a better race because early on it looked like Christopher Bell was going to run away with this one.
Yeah, yeah. Christopher Bell he's been the hot shoe here lately. That's for sure. That thing's really been fast. No matter where they go, he's been quick.
Yeah, he spun out when they got started back uh, after the rain delay and everything. The track still ended up being hot and slick, and a lot of drivers spun out on their own. He might have had somebody get a little bit of air in the left rear, but a lot of people spun out as hot and slick as it was on their own. You don't really see happen that often. But let's talk about the drama that happened at the end of the race. Three overtime finishes, and everybody had to go on fuel conservative mode, like to no end.
Yeah,
Even everybody, Steve Letarte, everybody in the booth, they're like, "There's absolutely zero chance anybody can make it after the second overtime." The the there was the first overtime or second overtime. Larson ran out of fuel, one of the first run out of fuel, and called kind of a chain effect. Everybody started crashing behind him. It seemed to happen in a couple of the overtime finishes.
yeah.
And then you just saw people that they pit earlier because they had to try something and it ended up working in their favor, like Zane Smith. That was one of them. And
Yeah.
Corey LaJoie was up there. He had a chance too, but he ended up getting caught
Zane
in a
Smith
wreck.
almost won that sucker.
I, well, Joey Logano wins. Somehow he's like the only one that was on that strategy that did not run out of fuel. I think it went 110 laps, give or take one or
Yeah,
two
it's crazy.
laps. And I we were talking about it, and I said he's one of the Fords, and you were saying Chase Briscoe, but he ran out of fuel. But Joey Logano's done this for a while, and Brad Keselowski, who's probably the most well known at conserving fuel, he was Joey's teammate for a while. Joey probably
True.
picked up a thing or two from him, and it could be a Penske thing as well with those engines that just get the best fuel mileage. I mean, that really could be what it was. You've seen it time and time again when Brad was at the Penske number two car, and he won a couple races, a bunch of races on fuel strategies just like that.
Yeah, also Joey Logano really wasn't up front at any point in time, so maybe he just wasn't able to keep the throttle in it quite as hard. All these guys needed was probably what 8 to 16 ounces of gas, and they would
They
have.
didn't need much. Did not need much. And somehow Larson ended up a top 10 after running out of fuel
Well,
after the
he actually
first
ran out
overtime.
at a good time because then it got a crash. He was able to come back in and get some gas and tires, and
It was definitely a crazy ending to a race where it was kind of a snoozer to begin with, but if this should be any indication of anything, NASCAR needs to have Nashville start in the late evening and go under the lights. And this should not be an argument. It should be Saturday night, July 4th weekend.
yeah, I would agree with that. At
Nashville is
Nashville, July 4th, I mean, America.
yeah, you're not going to get too much more America than this, and then we're going to get to this damn place behind you right now, and yeah, I'm going to end up on a rant today because that's going to damn happen because it's
Well,
Chicago street course.
they want fireworks. They didn't specify whether it be bullets or bottle rockets. So
Yeah, 9 millimeters in people's cars and stuff, but it's just the environment of Nashville for July 4th weekend would just be absolutely incredible for NASCAR, and it was already quite a America type free race too, and that's what it should be for July 4th.
yeah,
I very strongly think that should be a Saturday night July 4th race. Started at 5, 6 o'clock, and you know what? Screw it, make it a 500-mile race. Started at 5 o'clock, and then you have that good transition into nighttime, and you might get a phenomenal race at Nashville Super Speedway.
yeah, definitely. The race definitely got better at night. Track cooled off. Rubber built up. I mean, shoot, they were what 3, 4 wide at times. It got pretty exciting there on that small of a track. I like that track.
It's
That's a
good when
fun, it's a fun track to watch them race on.
it was hard to watch when it was so hot and slick that they had no control of the cars to do any of
Yeah,
that. But like you said, once it cooled off and the tires and the rubber it rubbered up, it was absolutely awesome. It was ended up being a very good race, and nobody knew who was going to win that one. You told me Joey Logano was going to win that after when it went to 5 to go or something. I called you stupid. I thought Denny Hamlin had it in the bag. I didn't
yeah,
think there was going to be a caution, and then I saw. I'm like, oh my god, what is about to happen? And
yeah.
then
Just as he was coming down for the one to go, the car like he was like in turn 4.
yeah, and yeah, he had that race won late. Christopher Bell was the early race favorite. It was pretty fun.
Yeah,
No one really knew. I enjoyed it. Like I said, if this is the argument to have put Nashville the July 4th weekend, make it an extra 100-mile race, start in the late evening, so you can have a nice transition to nighttime. I think that might be a quite literal, spectacular fireworks show.
yeah. I think that would be cool.
Let's get into some news that happened in NASCAR. This will kind of transition nicely into moving on what we're previewing. Josh Berry is going to take over for the Wood Brothers in the 21 car next year, and we kind of were talking about this today. That maybe that sucks for Josh Berry, or maybe it is good for Wood Brothers because the last time the Wood Brothers arguably had a good driver was Brian Blaney.
I mean, the cars should be good. I mean, they're Penske prepared cars. So, it's I don't know, it just and maybe just Harrison Burton just sucks that bad. But I don't even remember who was in before him. He wasn't any good either. It was
The Benedetto, maybe.
Was it? Yeah, well, he can't even.
Like I said, like I've been saying, I don't think there's been a good driver since Ryan Blaney has been in that 21 car. And I kind of forgot that Ryan Blaney was in the 21
Yeah,
car.
so did I. You said that. I'm like, oh yeah, he was in that car because I think he
So
got their last win.
with Josh Berry's experience and as good as he is on short tracks, that might boost how they race on those tracks. They already know how to race on the speedways
Yeah,
on
they definitely got a
Daytona,
good speedway
Talladega.
or
Yeah,
package for sure.
yeah. So they might complement each other very well. We'll see how they do. I think this has got more potential than having a random rookie get. A rookie doesn't need to go into the 21 car. It's a single car team. You don't have anybody to work with. You don't have a
Right.
teammate. You don't have anybody. Josh Berry at least had a team for this year. He's been under the guidance of Dale Jr. for a
Yeah,
while.
he's also what 30 couple of
Yeah, he's
years
a lot
old, so
more
it's not
mature
not
than.
like he's a 20-year-old going in
Yeah,
there. So he's definitely more mature and
yeah.
experienced in the whole deal.
So look, I'm not saying he's going to rattle off 5 to 10
I hope he
wins,
does well in it.
but
like Josh.
I don't think it'll be. I think it's the very definite improvement of what they've had in the past. So, congrats to Wood Brothers and Josh Berry, because as well as I, it sucks when you don't know where you're going to end up racing next year. And he's under contract, doesn't have to worry about that now, so he's good to go. Another one, Hendrick Motorsports has ended their sponsorship with Hooters, and not really surprising. I think a lot of Hooters are going out of business, so
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't really shock me that the sponsorship's ending. I mean, it sucks because they've been a sponsor since 2017, I think, with Chase Elliott, and they've been a long-time sponsor in the sport. But I mean, Hendrick will find a sponsor for Chase I mean, Napa's the primary still, and then you'll see some other random sponsor. It'd be funny if it was like I don't even know what goes against Hooters. Here's Twin Peaks though, so I don't know what the national brand would be.
Yeah, I don't know. Hooters' business model don't really seem to be the thing anymore. It's just,
no, they've just gone downhill. There's a lot of
last Hooters I went to, they didn't have any beer or soda, so I'm like, that was pointless.
Yeah, that would do it.
And that's one that went out of business there in Charlotte, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of them are just going downhill from pretty much everywhere. And the other bit of news, kind of transitioning into Chicago, is that for the Xfinity race at Chicago, Joey Logano replaces Hailie Deegan in the 15 car. The shocker there is that Joey's not traditionally the best road course racer. You would expect maybe a road course ringer would come and take over that car, but that just shows you that Hailie Deegan has been just a catastrophic failure in the Xfinity series. Yeah. And you hate to say it, and she's one of the more popular drivers. I mean, yes, she is a pretty woman, that's why, but you're consistently getting last out of all the full-time drivers.
She blames it on everybody but herself.
Yeah, and she's moved up way too fast, and she's had all this pressure put on her. It's not a position that it makes it good for that person to do well.
Well, like when we had the interview with Sammy and we were talking about young drivers, he's like, get in a class where you can win, then move up.
Yeah, and
it's like, you're not winning in any class. Why do you keep moving up?
She should have stayed in the truck series, and
she had some decent runs in the trucks time to time.
Yeah, when you don't crash, you can have a decent run in the truck series. It's just, I don't know if this will really prove that if the equipment's good or bad, because if somehow Joey ends up, let's say, winning or getting a top 5 in that car.
I think he'll run fine in it. I don't.
Oh, he will, but again, he's not just like the traditional road course genius or something. I mean, he can win. I mean, he's done it, but it's just one that you're not really expecting to put in that car. It was kind of out of left field, but again, if you see Joey running there, it's not the car, it's the driver.
Yeah.
And we'll see how or at least if it runs well, maybe not even where it finishes, because it's kind of a crapshoot when you go to a road course, street course type situation. So we'll see how that plays out. But we're heading into Chicago, the Chicago street course, the dumbest move that NASCAR has made. Here we go for my rant. I mean, you're moving from the traditional Daytona 500 Daytona International Speedway for July 4th weekend, then you go into the Indianapolis road course, which was stupid, and then you end up you bring back Indianapolis Oval, and you decide, let's keep Chicago for the July 4th weekend, because I don't know why. There's 2 options. There's about 3 options you can have for the July 4th weekend.
Oh, they could have stayed in Chicago, just run at Chicagoland.
Yeah, but it's not for July 4th weekend. July 4th weekend needs to be Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Nashville, or Daytona. I'm sorry, that's what it needs to be. Chicago Street Course, they're doing it to try to bring in more demographics and say, hey, we're this cool, we're bringing into this cool city and everything. Last year, I will say, because of the rain, the race actually was kind of interesting. Well, that, and then Austin Dillon hit the shit out of barriers about every other lap too. The same ones. It's like when I try to iRace, you can't. It's like a mental block. You don't know how to get through that corner. I'll turn right this time to go left. I don't know. And Shane Van Gisbergen is the defending winner. He showed everybody that he whipped everybody's ass, and everybody in NASCAR was like, "Holy shit, this guy's actually not too bad. He can race these cars."
the being the street course the way that is, and then the rain, that just put it right in his wheelhouse. I mean, that
Yeah, I
was
don't know what the weather is. Actually, not a bad idea to pull up the weather right now for Chicago. A lot of the weather might be stray bullets and crime, but I don't know what the actual rain and stuff situation is there. But as we're getting into Chicago, like we always do, let's give our power rankings post Nashville heading into Chicago. So your top five this week, I didn't really change a whole lot of change kind of positions, but all the drivers are the same in mine.
so's mine.
All right, go ahead with yours.
All right, at number 5, I dropped him down one. Just I got Chase Elliott at 5, Ryan Blaney at 4, Denny Hamlin at 3. I dropped Kyle Larson down 1 to 2, and at number 1, I got Christopher Bell. He's just been the fastest car. He didn't win, but he still had the best car early.
Yeah. Well, the weather in Chicago, it's a 39% chance of rain, so it's kind of like summer weather. So take it
Very
what you will.
specific, 39% chance.
Yeah, and there's a 10% chance of that. So my power rankings post Nashville heading into Chicago. Number 5, I've got Ryan Blaney. He was good at Nashville. He also spun as well, and it was kind of madness at the end. So I'm not changing any of that. He's at number 5. Number 4, I've got Denny Hamlin. He had the race in the bag. He'd be up a little higher if he ended up finishing. He ended up winning. He ran out of fuel. What are you going to do about that? Christopher Bell's my number 3. I think he stays at number 3 for me. And the only reason is that I have Chase Elliott number 2, had a better finish than Christopher Bell. And number 1, back at number 1, I've got Kyle Larson because it was very impressive for running out of fuel and then ended up coming back and getting 8th out of that race. Shows that he was driving the hell out of that thing. So heading into Chicago, you got a lot of those. All those 5 guys got a good shot to win it, especially the top 3. I've got Larson, Chase, and Blaney. Not Blaney, Christopher Bell. They all can win. Very likely could win a road course or a street course. Chase and Larson had good shots at it last year. Then Shane just kind of drove away with it. But here's your question for this week.
Oh boy.
Since we're not doing a top 5, we'll pause on top 5. We'll announce it next week. We're not going to have a show next week, guys, because I'll be at the beach on vacation. I might do like little snippets and stuff, talking about a couple things and BSing and being not completely sober on the beach. But the question for this week, Shane Van Gisbergen, I don't know if I'm butchering his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Shane, but he's one of a number of drivers that are non-Americans to win a NASCAR race. Who are the only non-Americans to win a NASCAR race, Cup Series race?
Daniel Suarez.
Yep. If my stuff wants to pull up. Holy shit! Why? Yes.
Marcus Ambrose.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Pablo Montoya.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you have Shane, so that's already checked off.
Yeah.
And there's 2 more. You kind of got to dig in the history books a little bit.
You know what? Wow.
Probably one of the best all-time overall racers of all time. Kind of like the original Larson.
Oh, they had as Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just assumed he was. Well, I mean, I know he's not from.
He's only won one. Which race was it?
Daytona 500.
Yeah. And there's one, and this I'd be shocked if you can win this. This is a Canadian name, and he's won one race in Martinsville.
Was it what Villeneuve?
No. Okay. He won in the Xfinity series.
Okay,
but this is the Cup Series.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Earl Ross.
Oops, I don't know who that is.
I don't know. No drivers won more than 2. That's not from the United States. Juan Pablo won 2, Marcos won 2, and Daniel Suarez won 2.
Okay, interesting.
I expect Daniel Suarez to break that eventually. It's probably
you would think so.
He could very well do it this weekend, which would be kind of weird that a non-American wins a July 4th race back-to-back years.
Yeah.
But fantasy.
Hey, he's a U.S. citizen now, so
he is, and he did it the right way. So good for him. All right, so fantasy for this week, and I won. Somehow I won. Everybody damn crashed. So I didn't like it. I didn't know what was going to happen because I swapped out Chastain because he was kind of sucking. I was like, let me just throw Bell in. He was dominating. I said, oh yeah, got this. I had like 1, 2, 3, and like 8 in my lineup. I was like, oh, I'm running away with this. I'm about to be the all-time leader ever. And it crash, run out of fuel. I said, son of a bitch. So all right. So this week I still won. So but I think both of us are going to dig into the bags to get kind of traditional road course racers, I'm assuming, because we haven't really used a lot of these guys. So let me give you the lineups for this week. I think you started last week, so I'll start it this week.
That's fine. Go ahead.
So my starters for this week, a guy I'm not going to put in a lot, so might as well use him for a road course. He's a pretty good road course racer. I've got Austin Cindric. The next one I've got, traditional good road course racer, I got Michael McDowell. Another one, this one I've used quite a lot, but you know what? I'm not going to be sad about it. Tyler Reddick, I've used him 5 times, so I think you got to be cautious, but he's too damn good at road courses to not start him. AJ Allmendinger's racing this weekend, so I've got him in. Be stupid not to. And I've got the Aussie Shane Van Gisbergen, the defending winner, New Zealander, whatever. And Daniel Suarez is in my garage, so I've got it covered this weekend. They're all going to crash. Feature matchups this week, Kyle Larson versus Chase Elliott. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. He had a good showing there last year. Shane versus Denny. I've got Shane in this one. Tyler Reddick versus Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has shown really good speed at road courses, but
he could actually be very good at road course.
And he's not a bad driver. He's going to get a win here before too long, but I've got Tyler Reddick over him in this one. And Cindric versus AJ Allmendinger, I've got Dinger in this one. He's a damn good street course, road course racer, whatever you want to call it. So go ahead and go ahead with yours.
Well, I can either make up a ton of ground this week or really crap the bed. So I'm using your philosophy from last week. I have Kyle Larson, Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr., and in my garage I have William Byron.
You just said, fuck it, let's get everybody.
Yeah. So in my feature matchups, I have Chase Elliott over Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin over SVG, Tyler Reddick over Ty Gibbs, and Austin Cindric over AJ Allmendinger.
It'll be interesting. The hot pick this week is, of course, Tyler Reddick. Not very surprising.
Yeah, that's not a stretch on that one.
They said a hot pick is Chris Buescher, which is
I don't agree with that one.
Well, it said he finished at 10th at Chicago last year. His worst finish in the last 13 road course races is 11th, and 12 top 10 finishes in the next gen car are on road courses, the most of all drivers. They jinxed the hell out of him. They said avoid Denny Hamlin, but he could win anywhere. I mean, you can
he's just too good anywhere.
He had a quarter of a lap at Sonoma and blew up, so he's going to want to have a little bit more revenge at this race. Brad Keselowski says to avoid. He's plus 10,000. They said avoid him at Sonoma, and I think he finished either top 10 or just outside the top 10.
I was going to say, I don't think he's a bad road course. I mean, he's won 1 or 2 of them on the road course.
And this is a sleeper. I don't really know if you can consider it a sleeper as good as he's been on road courses, but Michael McDowell is the sleeper this week. But I mean, if they actually have the odds right here on me, the Denny's plus 3,000, Brad's plus 10,000. I mean, shit. I mean, I'm not going to put anything on them, but who knows what if there's a little bit of rain, it's going to change everything up once again. I think it might be all right. Still hate it. Going to. I'm going to bitch about it.
The only thing that's kind of neat's that one turn where they kind of
plow into the wall.
Well, they're coming in. They're going in 2 directions at the same time. They're actually facing each other, and they each make like a left 90-degree turn, which is kind of cool. But other than that, it just I don't know.
They should definitely have Chicagoland back. Like that's even all the drivers want Chicagoland back. Bring that sucker back. It's a good track, especially this next gen car. Better put on a hell of a show.
It could.
All right. So our picks for fantasy this week: Xfinity. Who do you got?
So this is one thing you don't really know, but Cole Custer won it last year, but this guy actually impresses me on road courses. I have Sam Mayer this week for Xfinity.
This guy's won back-to-back road courses in Xfinity. Didn't think he would do it back-to-back weeks, and I ate those words. So I'm going to make it 3 in a row for road courses / street courses. I got SVG for this one.
Okay, it's very possible on that one.
Cup Series. Who's your pick?
So, I don't know. I keep picking him for road courses, and I keep jinxing him, so sorry about this one. But I have Chase Elliott for this one.
All right. Well, I have Tyler Reddick as my Cup Series pick. I thought about SVG sweep this weekend, but I think America brings it back to the homeland and wins it. So Tyler Reddick is my pick for the Cup Series race at Chicago.
Mom's pick is AJ Allmendinger for the Cup race.
And he should have a pretty good showing. It's a good car.
I would think so.
That does it for NASCAR this week. Let's talk about IndyCar at Mid-Ohio. This is a fun track for them to race at, and Xfinity also races there every now and then.
Yeah, it's 2.25 mile, 13 turn road course. The interesting thing about this track is that it's only 40 feet wide, so it is really narrow. IndyCar is not as big of a deal. Stock cars, that's not wide at all.
No.
So, but it's kind of a cool track. It has elevation changes. It's got some tight turns. There's no real super fast, like real long section on it. It's mostly turns, which I think is actually very good for the Indy cars. I think they'll put on a pretty good racing on this one. So, the strategy on the push to pass is probably going to be key to get past those guys. I think just racing them without that is going to be difficult.
Yeah, the last race that they had, there were the second, third place. They had like another minute and a half of push to pass, and they weren't able to even catch the leader. I guess they didn't utilize it soon enough, and before it ended up being too late for them to even bother using that. So basically, if they used it, they were going to use it just to play defense and not get past, instead of having to be more offensive and to try to catch Pelot on the last one. So Pelot's the last winner on road course, and he's probably the favorite this week, I would venture to say. The IndyCar news this week, before we talk about our picks, though, Arrow McLaren announces that it has signed Christian Lundgaard starting next year to take over for Alexander Rossi. Alexander Rossi and Arrow McLaren have announced to mutually part ways. So that was a big breaking news that came out in IndyCar this week. So look out for both of those drivers to have an interesting race this week. One's looking for a ride next year, and one's secured a ride next year. So
I would think Rossi's not going to have any trouble finding a ride. He's a good racer.
No, IndyCar champion, I believe, right? Indy 500 champion.
Indy 500 champion for sure.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, Indy 500 champion. I don't think he's won the championship yet. All right, well, our pick for IndyCar at Mid-Ohio. Who is your pick?
So I got 2 in a row. Alex Pelot. Also won last year.
Yeah, digging deep in that one. Well, I got the guys that's been in the news for IndyCar this week. I've got Christian Lundgaard. Okay.
I was thinking using your strategy of taking Dixon.
No.
But Pelot's, I think he's getting rolling now.
My picks last little while kind of sucked in IndyCar. Who did I pick? Rosenquist last time started like second or third and then like crashed.
Well, yeah, VK.
No, that was one before and he crashed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had I apologize, Lundgaard. I'm sorry. NHRA, let's recap what happened there. And Top Fuel, Antron Brown gets a hell of a race in the finals. Top Fuel, I got that pick right. Another good race in a Top Fuel race is in the funny cars. It was Bob Tasca takes a win in that one over your pick. So our picks were the finals. So
yeah.
Austin Brock.
Brock was trying. I don't know, what was it? 2 inches at the line. It was a couple 10,000ths of a second. It was crazy.
You still got.
I think it was on a hole shot.
It was amazing. It was awesome. I love seeing hole shot wins for the finals. That's awesome. I don't know why, I just get excited for that.
And we're talking, one had a 46 light, one had a 49 light.
Yeah, it was.
So that's how that's how close. It wasn't like anyone were snoozing on the start. I mean, it was that close. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, you got to say that Austin Prock's got to be the favorite to win the Funny Car Championship now. He is so consistent in that car, and he's had an impressive year. And
yeah, like I said, I think his dad is Jimmy Prock is probably the best top fuel, nitro mechanic out there right now.
it's clearly showing it. And now that whole entire organization has a little bit more motivation with John Force's injury, who's still recovering in the hospital. The family actually released a statement saying he's had some, I think it was neurological damage, which means he probably had a concussion, some severe concussions, likely a brain bleed that they have to make sure it's under control. And there's some other issues going on. I've said it. I don't think you'll see John Force race again, but you never know. These damn racers are stubborn as hell, so you could very well see
especially him.
Yeah, so still wishing him the best for a full recovery. But in the meantime, I think Austin Prock's got it for right now. He's doing pretty decent. NHRA is off for not until the end of the month. I forgot what month we're in right now. They're off for a couple weeks, and they'll be back in action.
Seattle, I think.
Yeah, see if they can luck out and make sure it's not going to rain. I don't know anything about Seattle. I just know it rains a lot. So yeah, that and then Pro Stock back-to-back wins was Aaron Stanfield, which I think that shocked a lot of people. I don't expect him to
definitely did.
Yeah, go back-to-back wins, and that's not one that driver you would think go back-to-back. Back-to-backs like Erica, who's been struggling right now. She started off she's going opposite of what she was last year. She started off really slow last year, and at this point she started turning around. It's kind of going opposite.
Yeah, so now we're throwing Aaron Stanfield in there, so you got him, you got Dallas Glenn, you got Erica, you got Greg Anderson. Jay can randomly win one anytime coming out of the thing. Troy Kaufman can win one anytime out of the thing. So that field's been
the Quattro brothers could easily win it too. I mean, they've been their same teammates as Erica, so they always have shots at it. Yeah,
Quattro. Drag racing's been, except for motorcycle, which we'll get into here in a second. It's been
I don't know as much to get into.
It's been tough to pick that one.
12 in a row. Is it 12 or 11?
We've nailed the picks on Pro Stock motorcycle.
Yeah, damn, we're damn good, huh? Fucking smart. I think it's 11 or 12 in a row now. It's just unprecedented territory we're in right now. It's just ass kickings, and he's not. I mean, it's not like he's always the number one qualifier, which I
think he was 3 this week.
I think he's just dicking around in qualifying, just to get people's hopes up, and then he just. I think he should just try to be as slow as possible in qualifying just to make it, and then just win as like a 16.
Well, he was up against Matt Smith, which I think Matt might have been the number one qualifier, and he was absolutely snoozing on the tree. You better have a 000 light if you want any shot at beating Gage Herrera, and Matt had like a 112 light or something stupid like that.
Gage had one where he was snoozed on the start. He still just drove by him.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is insane. And he seems like a really good personality, though. It's not like he seems like a stuck-up snob or anything.
No, he's just, he's like, just enjoying the ride. That's,
yeah. Well, I mean, if he keeps it up, he might get a shot at Pro Stocks or moving up to Antron did. He moved up to Top Fuel, so maybe he gets a shot at it. I don't know. That does it for all the asphalt for this week's show. Let's head into dirt racing. Let's just talk about High Limit Outlaws, then we'll kind of give a little preview of the Speed Week races at least the one that you'll be seeing up there. Hopefully the rain holds off, because you never know. Pennsylvania, it's in part of the Appalachian Mountain Range, Appalachian up there in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, guys, but it's in that mountain range. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. Port Royal's actually racing tonight, and I think the weather's beautiful up there right now. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, of course it is, because I'm not there.
So High Limit's off this week, and
the Outlaws are.
So we're Outlaws.
But hey, hats off to the World Outlaws letting their drivers run other races without having any kind of penalty.
Well, Logan Schuchart won last night.
Yep.
And so I mean, racing with all of his family there too. Jacob Allen was racing. It's they're all from Pennsylvania, so he gets to have a little fun at Pennsylvania Speed Week. But High Limit, I got this pick right, and when I saw where he started in the feature, and I didn't realize he didn't get a qualifying run in, Corey Day wins Lake Ozark, and that dude
That was an
is.
ass kicking of epic proportions on that one.
I haven't. I'm going to say I haven't seen anything like that. That was inside. He drove up to the field like they were just sitting still. That was just freaking amazing. Didn't make a qualifying run. Started last in the heat. Got fourth in his heat. Started 15th in the feature, and
He was leading
by
what,
the time halfway.
12, 15 laps or something
It was
like
by
that?
half. It was 100% by halfway. It was, yeah, and then it wasn't even close. Nobody had a shot at him. It was that kid is something else, and he's not a dirty driver. He just runs the hell out of it. You can see he has fun. He's also smart about it. Gets through lap traffic like a veteran. Damn, he's good. I keep talking about Corey Day, but damn, that kid is good. And you're not going to see him be just a sprint car driver much longer. He's too damn good to not just put it in. Screw it, put him for Haley Deegan. He's a way better racer. He could figure that shit out better than she can. I'd love to see him race up there.
If he starts getting Ford though,
yeah. Well, if he gets signed by the right people, goes into the trucks, or something, I got another favorite driver heading up. So that's always cool to see. Sure. And I think that's another one that could have the Kyle Larson effect. You get some of the dirt fans watch some NASCAR races. So it's going to happen. Somebody's going to pluck him. They have to. He's too good. He's just a naturally great driver.
Yeah.
All right, there goes off my Corey Day high horse on him. Sunshine wins the only race that was at Lucas Oil. The other day rained out. So rain kind of sucked this weekend. Outlaws rained out their first night, I believe, and then
they rained out the first night, ran the second.
Yeah, and it was opposite for
the first night, rained out the second.
Yeah, so that does it for High Limit. Talking about Sunshine winning, he closes the gap sort of on.
It's still a pretty big gap on that.
Yeah, and I
it's like think he's still points now or something like that.
I think he still leads the midweek money. Even with Corey Day's dominance like that, Corey Day kind of put himself in a little bit of a hole. He had some issues. I think he had flat tires and stuff happened early on.
Yeah, he's actually dropped out of several races from like a flat tire or something like that.
Sounds like Sheldon's luck. Either wins or just crashes or something happens. Talking about the World of Outlaws, which this guy won yesterday, so maybe he's getting some momentum build up. But Logan Schuchart got his first win of the season. So maybe you see a little bit of momentum for him. I think
that was one. He started on the pole and led flag to flag, but it really was a better race than what you just read the box ticket. Hey, he started on the pole, led every lap. The race was close. I mean, there was good battles going on right behind him, and
it's different in dirt racing when somebody goes flag to flag than like the truck series that went flag to flag this week, because the truck series everybody's just crashing. They weren't passing. It was just somebody's just spinning out and just bringing out cautions. Dirt racing, people are going three wide, going underneath each other, hauling it on the outside, ballsing it in. They're passing with and making it work and not crashing.
A lot of times you got to deal with the lap cars, and sometimes those things can be a handful. So you got to judge that because and if you don't know, there's no radios, no spotters, no mirrors. They don't know where these guys are, so you just got to run the shit out of it every lap. And the
only radio they have is a transmitter that gets received from the top.
Yeah, it's a one-way from the officials.
Just saying, hey, line up or whatever. You need to go here, or that we're doing the 4-wide salute or something, and just make sure everybody gets lined up right. That's the only thing they can hear. Other than that, it's instinct. That's why dirt racers are the best racers in the world. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I mean,
screw you, Max Verstappen. Strap your ass in a sprint car, you'll shit your pants.
Strap your ass in anything else, because even IndyCar drivers are like, come on, we would kick everybody's ass in Formula One. Ain't even fucking close. Like we could handle them. I mean, come on, let's go. Let's have that would be cool. Let's go toe to toe, have it in a Formula One race. Have like Kyle Larson and go into Formula One, and then first
have an IROC series in Formula One.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be badass, and just see. All right. Well, let's talk about real quick the race you'll be going up the Grove. Kind of give a little bit inside of that. You can give a pick you want. I'm not doing a pick for it because I'm not trying to jinx
I'm
anything.
gonna
But
pick Mother Nature on that one.
well, it's your luck. It's seemingly, but uh, the which one's this week?
The Mitch Smith
Mitch
Memorial.
Smith. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Mitch Smith, legendary Pennsylvania racer. They called him the original Mr. Excitement. One of the neat things is Dad worked with him a lot, built some of his cars. He's most famous for the Flying Tiger car, which had the tiger stripes on it. Dad built that car. So it's only fitting that, and it's funny, Dad hasn't won that race that many times, surprisingly enough. But I don't really remember Mitch Smith. I was pretty young when he died. I am friends with his daughter Kelly, so it'd be nice to go up there and see them. But yeah, there's some stories Dad had with Mitch Smith. There was one he said, I don't remember who they were racing, but he's like, "Look, you're not going to beat him. Just run second." And Mitch is like, "Nope." He ran the shit out of it and destroyed the car. So it's Dad's like, "I told you you weren't going to win that one."
Who was he racing against? You
I don't
that?
remember who it might have been. I don't like. It could have been. I mean, it was one of the old racers like Ray Tilley or some of those guys. I don't remember, but Dad's. It was like I think it was at Sealands Grove, and Dad's like, "Look, we're not as fast as him. You're not going to win." And Mitch is like, "Yeah, no, that's not the answer. I'm going to go for."
Well, he tried to
So that's
slide
kind
her
of
and
how
stick it hit the wall.
that's how he got his name. He sort of either won or crashed. So it's
Oh, like Sheldon, like we've been talking about. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a lot of drivers.
So yeah, so it's at Williams Grove, 20,000 to win plus fireworks. Darren Pittman is coming in to run the 69K car. In my opinion, like I said, big race for Dad. Darren Pittman coming in, I think that puts him as for sure one of the favorites there. He went at Williams Grove last time he was in the car there, so.
But you got to think about the racers that likely will be coming in. You might see some high limit.
We got the Schuharts. I wonder if some of the other for 20 grand, you might see these guys come in.
Well, Brent Marks is going to be there, that's for sure. Macri is going to be there. He's been racing all speed week. Don't be shocked if Rico's there.
Yeah, I was
Rico loves
Rico probably. Yeah, I don't think you'll see Sweet. Shoot, you might see Corey Day. I'd love to see Corey Day come in.
That'd be pretty damn cool. I don't know if they've released an entry list yet. They probably haven't. I think the entry list goes official the day before. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. But if Corey Day's badass to see him race in action because, I mean, 18-year-old kids like to see it up front.
Not.
He would. It wouldn't surprise me if he win because why not? That's one driver like you don't
come in and win at Williams Grove, but
you could. I could. He went into Knoxville and freaking won. So I mean, that kid's got talent. He's just got a feel for the track and feel for the car. So I like to see who his crew chief is too, and who works on that car.
Yeah, because he's actually, I believe it's a teammate car with Carson Macedo.
Okay.
So I think it's Jason Johnson Racing. So so we know they're good cars.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Macedos, the other Macedo brother had started on the ball. He had a shot to win that race.
Cole, yeah, he was running good.
Yeah, and nobody was beating Corey Day that day. No. I think Cole actually had a right rear flat or some sort of issue.
I don't think he finished, but he was running in the top 3 most of that race.
Yeah, he was going to beat his brother.
Yeah,
which I wouldn't have guessed in that race, but yeah. All right, well, I think that does it for this week, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, share everything, and we'll be back in action in 2 weeks. We're gonna be off next week, but look for some content coming out next week, and we'll keep plugging away at this. Give what's next week's race? Pocono is next week, so
okay.
So we'll probably post some pics. We'll post lineups on our social media. So make sure you follow that on Instagram, Facebook, and all that fun stuff. And be on the lookout if you want to use our fantasy. Don't advise it. And then if you want to go opposite for the picks, there you go. We just won you guys money because it's always opposite of what we got. So
yeah, I'll see if I can get a little video and some pictures from up in Speed Week, and we'll get posted and shared on the Facebook pages and everything, and see how that goes.
Fingers crossed, Mother Nature works in her favor. You can at least see the Mitch Smith Memorial. That'd be really cool to see.
I hope
and
so.
Get to see everybody up there. So till next time, guys, we will see you then.
All right. See you from Pennsylvania.